Let's go to former Secretary of State and Fox News contributor Mike Pompeo. Secretary Pompeo, always good to have you with us. We have just been seeing this uptick in fire that is coming from Israel into Gaza, and we know it's a part of the operation to soften up targets there before a likely ground invasion. What's your assessment when you listen to our reporters on the ground talk about what's going on? What's changed here tonight?
So, Martha, I think this is carefully thought out, very strategic. The Israelis have made clear since October 7th that they would respond precisely as you're seeing them respond this evening. Don't know if this will be part of the main assault or just a raid for the evening. The Israelis will make that decision. What I hope the United States will continue to do the things it needs to do. And frankly, it hasn't done them so far. It needs to give Israel all the time and space that it needs. We're not talking about hours this evening or days this week. We are talking about months to defeat Hamas in detail. That's the requirement. That's the necessary requirement to keep Israelis and, frankly, as we've seen, Americans safe as well. It is now time for the United States to do its part. I heard the administration say that these attacks have been mostly unsuccessful. It sort of reminds me, Martha, of mostly peaceful protests. Yeah. These attacks were deeply successful, and they are all driven by Iran. And that's the thing the administration did at the outset that has caused us to find ourselves where we are today. They refused to acknowledge, they denied there was Iranian direct involvement. This is all orchestrated, trained, funded by one place, the Islamic Republic of Iran. And what Israel is doing tonight will only continue to drive Iran to take even more aggressive actions unless the United States does its fundamental role of deterring them.
I want to talk to you more about Iran and what should be done. But I want to ask you about these hostages because it's a very obviously unsettling and strange hostage situation so far. Because generally, when we have seen hostage takings, there's some kind of communication, there's some kind of proof of life. Now, maybe that's going on with the Qataris, that may be what's happening right now. We haven't seen any of these people. We haven't seen them in front of a camera, as you often see. We remember the horrific videos that we saw from ISIS of holding people. What is your take on what is going on, or even if they know where all of these individuals are, because there's a lot of different players here?
Well, listening to the advisor to Prime Minister Netanyahu, it sounds like they don't know exactly how many there are, let alone where each of them is. I suspect that is something that they are working alongside of us. I'm sure we're helping. I'm confident that there are Arab countries helping as well, trying to figure out exactly who's there, exactly where they are, and doing their level best to get them home. These families are suffering terribly. But make no mistake about it, Israeli families, American families too, will suffer even more greatly if Israel doesn't do the necessary. And so I'm confident they are first and foremost aiming to figure out where and how to get as many of these people back home safely to their families. But they're doing so against the knowledge that any let-up in pressure is just an opportunity for Hamas to rearm and re-prepare itself and to continue to attack into Tel Aviv and into Jerusalem and beyond.
Well, no doubt they took these people for a reason, for some kind of leverage, and we've yet to see how this is going to play out. It's quite scary, as you say, for their families, and we pray for all of them. What about the Qataris? They play this helpful role in getting in the middle of us and Israel and Gaza to try to get people home. And yet they allow the leadership of Hamas to live in fancy apartments in Qatar. So, I mean, how long can they, how long can they do both here?
So I'm confident, without knowing the details, that there are very complicated, very detailed conversations going on. I think the Qataris have been and will continue to be useful in this process to help the Israelis figure out how to get their citizens back home. I hope they're also doing their part to deter Iran, allowing Israel to do the things that it needs to do, and communicating to the Iranians there will be real costs associated should Hezbollah or the IRGC forces that are in Syria that we attacked over the last evening U.S. time. I hope the Qataris are playing that positive role. It is absolutely true. We knew that these folks were there in Qatar. In fact, the Israelis have worked alongside Qatar to help in the Gaza Strip for years and years and years. But on October 7th, a lot changed, and I'm confident everybody recognizes that there will have to be real changes with respect to how each of them treats Hamas and Iran in the days and months and years ahead.
So just one last question. With regard to Iran, we saw these retaliatory attacks by our Department of Defense, by the White House, that were very clearly directed at the IRGC, at weapons centers in Syria in these two hits. We remember what happened during the administration that you were part of, the Trump administration, when Soleimani was taken out. And after that, things calmed down. So there's a wide range there of response. What would you do right now in this situation if you were in charge or if you were advising the person in charge?
Without real cost imposition on the leadership in Iran, it is unlikely to deter them from continuing their terror campaign that they've been at for years and years and years. This is what we saw. When you go after the folks who fired the artillery at your embassy in Baghdad, or you go over, or even in this case, you go at Hamas, that only tells the Iranians they have your attention. The only way to stop them is to go after leadership inside of Iran itself. That's what they understand, true power. Weakness will only beget a multi-front campaign inside of Israel. And we shouldn't forget, Martha, they have the capacity to conduct terror all around the world, not just inside of Israel. This is something that will plague us until we demonstrate our resolve and restore the very deterrence that we had in the final years of the Trump administration.
Never give an inch, I think someone said. Secretary Pompeo, thank you very much. Good to have you here, sir. We'll be calling on you a lot in the coming days and weeks. It's great to have you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.